Great and mighty are the ways of my mother God and my father God. For God's ways are always mighty. And God works in every way that is almighty. For the might of God is in all things. God knew that in every way man came in this world. He did not know that every way that he would be given to do the many things that he does. It is the way in which God would show man that he is creating his own world from himself. And many saw the things that God showed them that they had done, and did not know that God was saying to them is that you are creating from yourself the world that you would live in. And this is true of man as an individual, as it is also true of man in the world. For wherever men said, we have been able to do this and we have been able to do that, they have demonstrated the world that they had created for themselves. The children of God, when they walked in the faith of your mother God and your father God, knew these things, and they knew the things that they were given to do. So they knew the world that they had created when they came here. And they knew the worlds that they could create from within themselves. And your God told them that the greatest of all that which you can do is to love one another and always do good for each other. The children of God had known what God meant by the sayings of God to them. For God took them unto God, and God said unto the children of God, look around you. And they looked around each other, and God said, what did you see? And they say, we see us looking different to everyone else. And God said, is that all you saw? And they said, our mother God and our father God, tell us that which we should see that we haven't seen. And God asked them, who among you is greater than you? And the children said, our mother and father God, none of us is greater than each other. And God said, and so it shall be. Wherever you go and wherever you are, you must remember, none of you is greater than any of you. And when you come to understand that, you will come to know why it is that you must love one another and do good for each other. These precepts of God were not heeded by the children of God, and the children found themselves at odds with each other. And the children followed the wayward ways of a wayward set of tribes on earth, and they did not know how to love in God and how to do good for each other by God. And everywhere that God saw what the children did, God knew the children of God will never be able to rise up in the greatness that was given into them, for they lost the divine of your mother and father God within them, and they were no longer able to love one another, to do good for each other, or to remember that none of them is greater than any one of them. Wherever God showed you the children of God in all the world, God showed you that there are those who believe that they are greater than the many children because of all the material things of the world that they had acquired. And they did not know that in every way they believed themselves to be greater than the children who had nothing. They were lesser than them. For your greatness does not lie in what you can show off. Your greatness lies within the Spirit that is unseen, working in the unseen for the good of God. And so when God told them, he who is considered the least among you is also that which is greater than you, they did not register with the children of God that they cannot be defined by the reality of their material existence. And you must tell them these things. You must teach them these things. You are not what you have acquired in the material world. It is who you are in the spirit world. And because the children of God had not been in touch with their own spirit or their own God, they had no way of knowing their greatness that lies within them. For they always looked outside of themselves and never within themselves. And they could not see the greatness that emanates from within themselves. And that is why God told them, you've gone the wrong way. And everywhere the many children of the world are, they seek the things of a world that are lesser than themselves, and you must tell them these things. All that you see around you will go. It will not last. It will be destroyed. And when you have premised your life upon all these things and they have gone, what will you do? When you have defined your own existence upon the things that are no longer there. It has always been the way that God had spoken. It has always been the way that we have given you to speak. That in all the things that you have taught the many children of God, you have always taught them giving is the way to the greatness that lies within you. Every way that God told them, give and give and give, God wanted them to recognize that in giving, they magnify the God that is within them. And in the magnification of God within you, you are as gods, as men. These simple messages of God that were sent out to the children of God were lost upon them. For everything their eyes beheld in the world that they had created from themselves, they went after it as it was their own gods. And they did not remember that they are the gods that created the things that they now make their own gods. And until the children of God came to recognize that your purpose on earth was never to go after what you have created, but to recognize, like your God, that there is nothing that you cannot do. There is nothing greater than you. There is no one greater than you are. And so whenever they went everywhere in the world, asking for this one and that one to lead them, to give them permission to do this and give them permission to do that. God has asked them, wherefore have you been gods? How it is that you have allowed yourselves to be ruled by those who cannot be greater than you are. And everywhere in the world, God shows them that you have done exactly what God told you not to do. Who among you is greater than you? We say unto you, the time has come when we shall send you among the children of your mother, Father God, in all the lands of the children, that you may speak and teach and preach these things that we have given unto you, unto them, that the children of God may return back to the true consciousness of who they are and who God is in them. And they will come to know the way in which God told them, you shall again inherit. You shall again inherit paradise on earth. Let them know that everything that God has given to them, in all the ways in which God has shown them how they live in their many lands, it was always the way God wanted them to understand how they got where they are, because they did not obey what God told them, and they allowed those lesser than themselves to become greater than themselves. And so God showed them what it meant to give up the sanctity and the sovereignty of God in you unto others, for you made them greater than you are. The children must return back to the ways in which we gave unto you to give unto them, that in all the ways that the children of your God may return back to the greatness hidden within them. They must come to reclaim earth as the paradise they created when they came here from the sun. All these things are God's ways unto you. All these were God's ways from God to you and from you to the children. For we give unto you that every way that we send you, you must lift them up. You must restore them with the things that they had lost, that they will regain. For it is the promise of God unto all of God's children, that God will renew them in all that which they had given to this earth that had been stolen from them by the wicked tribes of earth. And the children will go in the way in which God told them, rejoicing in the goodness and the gladness of all the tidings that God gives from you to them, that in every way that they must go, they must always go in the joyful ways of a joyful mother and a joyful Father God. This message we sent from us to you, from you to all the children of God, that God's promise will be fulfilled unto you all.